Thank you for joining. I am Riley with the T Storm Chasers, and we're going to take a look at your forecast. But before we do, here is a brief word from our sponsors at Cube Portable Storage.
What are you doing?
Decluttering?
Moving? Remodeling? In need of temporary storage, emergency cleanup, or just need to declutter? Cube Portable Storage has the perfect solution. Rent your Cube Portable Storage container today.
And don't forget, they got roll-off dumpsters for the other stuff. Call Cube Storage for all your moving needs.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We are back here for another video. This afternoon, we're going to take a look firstly at your national map, and as you can see, there is not a whole lot going on here. You look at the radar, there's really not a whole lot going on. There is one spot in Illinois and Indiana. We got a couple of severe thunderstorms actually out in that area. And it's pretty hot down south. You know, Oklahoma's in the 70s and 80s, and Texas and the Dixie Alley. But for our area, we are pretty quiet overall, and the temperatures, I'm going to be honest, have not really changed much. Sioux Falls is at the same temperature that I was here this morning covering. Sioux Falls has been at the same temperature. We're still at 37. 43 in Brookings. It's actually warmer up to the north, which is a little bit surprising. Sisseton is at 48, at 43 in Aberdeen, 46 in Mulbridge. And look at out west. The Black Hills is the warmest spot on the map for our area. We're at 54 in Custer, 55 in Spearfish. It's pretty warm for this time of the year. 48 in Rapid City, 50 in Buffalo. Down into Nebraska, we got 55 in Scottsbluff. We got 45 in North Platte. We got 45 in Grand Island. We got 45 in Omaha, 39 in O'Neill. Into Iowa, we got 43 in Sioux City, 37 in Spencer, 41 in Fort Dodge, 43 in Des Moines, 43 in Cedar Rapids. And then into Minnesota, 45 in the cities, 43 in Marshall, 46 in St. Cloud, 39 in Duluth, 37 in Fairmont. So mainly 30s and 40s with a few 50s here and there sprinkled in. So we're going to jump to the latest model runs, and we're going to look at a couple of long-range forecast items. And again, as you can see, the system from yesterday moved out of here. The remnants is over here in Wisconsin and Illinois. So this is what's left of that system. But we're going to go ahead and hear a word now from our sponsors from CE Construction.
From roofing to siding, CE Construction is setting the standard across North and South Dakota. Our expert team delivers quality, durability, and trust on every project. CE Construction, Dakotans helping Dakotans with their roofing and siding needs. Call or visit us online.
All right, so looking ahead here at your future cast here, future radar. And as you can see this evening, the only thing that we got going on here, I will mention out in western South Dakota, basically from Rapid City up to Spearfish, up towards Belle Fourche, up towards Buffalo. There could be a window here in northwestern South Dakota for some rain showers moving through the area this evening into the overnight hours. So again, northwestern South Dakota, and then eventually north central South Dakota, Pierre up to Mulbridge, up into North Dakota, and then eventually maybe Aberdeen overnight with some light rain showers, and then maybe up in the Sisseton area by the morning. And then that is going to be it. That is really about it for moisture for the next 10 days or so. We are looking at an extended period of quiet, dry weather. Today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. Now, I will mention Friday could be a little different down in Nebraska. Could be some rain showers down in Nebraska on Friday morning into Friday. So I do want to mention that for Friday. For our Nebraska audience down there, it'd be, North Platte area, down in that area. Otherwise, it's going to be quiet and dry. And then for your weekend forecast, looking pretty good. Again, dry on Saturday, dry on Sunday, dry on Monday. Now, Tuesday, this is taking us out a week out from today. You do notice next Tuesday there could be some rain chances in Nebraska and maybe Iowa and maybe even the Sioux Falls area by early afternoon there on Tuesday. And then, as you can see there, this is, it's a week out, so a lot can still change. But it is interesting. It does show some rain finally moving into the picture here a week out from today. But then that'll be quick moving, and that'll get out of here, and then maybe some snow on the back side of that system, maybe in Nebraska. Western Nebraska could see some snow showers. That's certainly possible. And we'll see what happens after that. I'm looking a little bit more long range out. As of right now, for your Thanksgiving, it looks dry. And how this is still over 200 hours out. So this is still, over a week out. A lot can still change. But as of right now, we are not seeing any kind of big time systems coming through on Thanksgiving. Now, if we look at temperatures, that tells a little bit of a different story. We're going to start first with short term, and then we'll go towards the long term. Tomorrow, we're looking at a pretty nice day overall. 40s to low 50s in Minnesota, 40s to low 50s in Iowa, 50s to low 60s in Nebraska, 50s mainly in South Dakota there, low 50s in Sioux Falls, mid 50s in Pierre and Rapid City. Now, there's going to be a pocket here, it looks like, of 60s in south central South Dakota and north central Nebraska, basically from Valentine up to Winter and over to Chamberlain. A pocket of 60s can be found, looks like, tomorrow. And then for Thursday, we're looking at another mild day overall. We got 40s and 50s for our area. We got low 50s for Sioux Falls. We got 40s Aberdeen, Pierre, Rapid City, 50s in Iowa, 50s in Nebraska. And then for your weekend forecast, kicking us off on Friday, 40s in Minnesota, 40s and 50s in Iowa, 40s and 50s in Nebraska, and then 50s in South Dakota, upper 50s in Pierre, low 60s even in Rapid City perhaps on Friday, and around 50 in Sioux Falls. And then on Saturday, looking at a very nice forecast. How about this for your weekend? Low to mid 50s, even some upper 50s across western South Dakota, Pierre, Rapid City. Low 50s for Aberdeen, mid 50s for Sioux Falls, mid 50s over in Minnesota and Iowa, 60s down in Nebraska. That's going to feel really nice. That's about 15 degrees above average. And then how about Sunday? Same thing. Looking at 40s in Minnesota, and we got 50s in southern Minnesota into Iowa, into South Dakota there, mid 50s for Sioux Falls and Pierre and Rapid City, low 50s in Aberdeen. Look at Nebraska, 60s again down there. Is going to feel really nice. And then by the time we get towards Monday the 24th, looking at 40s and 50s in the forecast there. That's still above average for this time of the year. And then on Tuesday, 40s to low 50s again. Near 50 in Sioux Falls. Looks like this is a week out from today. So as you can see, we're looking at a pretty mild forecast. Overall, a very mild forecast. All right, real quick here, I wanted to go over this. This is a look here ahead at your long-range temperature outlook for our region. Now, this is the national view, of course. But you can see majority of the country here over the next 6 to 10 days is going to be very much above average for temperatures. This is your 6 to 10 day forecast. And again, above average temperatures, especially in the southeast part of the country. But for us, we're going to be above average. Now, I will say panhandle of Nebraska, western South Dakota, as you can see there, looks to be about average. So did want to point that out. Now, if we look at the 8 to 14 day window, what is it showing? Well, it shows a little bit of a different picture. The southeastern part of the country is the only spot that looks to be above average temperatures. And look at this. This is what we've been talking about for the last few days now. It does look like next week, by the time we get to Thanksgiving, just in time for Thanksgiving and your Thanksgiving weekend, it looks like there will be a big-time cool-down. We're talking temperatures in the 20s, maybe even the teens, maybe even colder overnights especially. But you can see there, our whole region will be below average for temperatures according to the latest NOAA temperature forecast, the long range outlook. This is your 8 to 14 day window. And wrapping things up here with your 10-day forecasts, we're looking at 40s and 50s the rest of this week. As you can see, mix of clouds and sun, overnight lows in the 20s and 30s, and not much moisture to speak of. In fact, we're not seeing any moisture as of right now. But it does look like a really nice weekend. So hopefully you guys can do your yard work, get the yard work done, get whatever you need done before winter, and enjoy the nice weather that we'll be seeing over the next several days. Now, it's not going to be, obviously, it's not super warm out there, but still for this time of the year, we're going to be in that, 5 to 15 degrees above average for this time of the year. By the end of that 10-day, again, we mentioned that big-time cool down coming back into the 20s by the end of that 10-day. For the Aberdeen area, similar forecast, 40s and 50s in the forecast, 40s the next few days, and then 50s for your weekend, and a mix of clouds and sun. Overnight lows in the 20s and 30s, and then by the end of that 10-day, dropping into the 20s. That is certainly a change of pace, and not seeing any moisture really in this forecast. And then for the Pierre area, 40s and 50s in the forecast. A similar forecast. Overnight lows in the 30s. Mix of clouds and sun. Look at your weekend forecast. Mid-50s and sun. That's going to feel pretty nice. And then next week, starting out nice, and then we're going to cool down into the upper 20s to low 30s by the end of that 10-day. And not seeing any moisture to speak of. And then for the Rapid City area, we are looking at 50s in this forecast for the rest of this week. Look at your weekend. Upper 50s and sun. It's going to feel really nice. Overnight lows mainly in the 30s, and then we'll fall next week into the 40s, and then eventually the low 30s by the end of that 10-day. Overnight lows dropping into the teens. So this was sponsored by Black Venom Outdoors and the Gatekeeper Security and Fence. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. And we will be back, of course, for another video tomorrow. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We go live on TikTok now. And also be sure to follow us on Facebook and X. That is where we are most active. So thank you guys for watching.